So, as leader of the free world, I am your leading psychologist, your leading sociologist. You wouldn't say that. Well, actually, I am the world's smartest man as your new Necratic government. And I have been for the last 11 years. And you are basically in denial of that and you're butthurt about that. But I wanted to talk about Aldous Huxley. He said, "Be careful to be very rational in a country of madness. The integral man does not become king, he is lynched." Huxley warns that in a world ruled by irrationality, sanity becomes a threat. Those who remain reasonable and principled may not be rewarded but punished, as they expose the madness of the system. This is a sobering reminder of how truth tellers can be vilified by distorted societies. And I said, it's a society of psychopaths. I can tell you this much as first king of the continent. The adults are still selfish, vindictive children, right? Because 60% of you are psychopaths, according to AI and I. You want to see people punished even more as sadists when the entire prison industrial complex of the former US government was actually cruelty under the Eighth Amendment. So it's going to be a big adjustment for you as Americans. One, to understand that your country ended, and two, to quit being vindictive psychopaths. How can we get psychopaths to be more caring, compassionate people when they've demented what justice actually is? Look, you're torture narcissists, and no one has ever told you before. And it's a rude awakening for people older than me who think that they're wiser than I am since they're older than me, right? You might not be more intelligent than the world's smartest man just because you're older than me, right? You may not be smarter than I am as a know it all nincompoop stylist, right? Uh, your average hipster wants to tear down the alpha male protector of the planet, right? So that he can have the limelight as a celebrity narcissist, so that he can bone my girl as a sexual narcissist opportunist, right? So that's the problem of a society of psychopaths. Hey, you don't even want to have any friends that are dudes. They might bone your girl, right? If you outshine somebody on their podcast or their television show, look, they might get butthurt about it, right? But lo and behold, we found out the majority actually wants the smartest to be their leader, not the most popular. So that's a rude awakening for all the power structures of the world. Hey, look, they're going to have to redo government. The world's smartest man is going to threaten the power structure of every government on earth. So, what's their first thing that they will do? Oh, subversion, marginalize the world's smartest man, right? So that I don't have a voice, I don't have a reach bigger than your average thirst trap here on TikTok. Of course, it is an idiocracy. Why would you notice the world's smartest man? You would just make fun of him like Joe in the movie. And that's what we've seen to this day, 11 years as the noocracy representative. I can tell you, hey, look, everyone in our society, all Americans, make fun of the smartest person for shits and giggles so they can have a little power trip, so they can mute me as a moderator narcissist to get a high as a psychopath, right? What's the favorite humor of psychopaths? Sardonic mockery. Well, that's all you will ever hear from an American. Disrespect, mockery on every TikTok live. Look, they're all the same, no matter what country they're from. It's a society of psychopaths, adults who lack quality leadership, all in a pissing contest to conquer the world through kinetic force and Iron Mountain philosophy. Hey, the boomers believed that might makes right. They didn't understand how to acquire leadership of the entire planet through inspiration instead of intimidation. No, they don't use their words. They use bullets and bombs and subversion, mockery. They use the mute button on TikTok, right? So everyone loves to block their own family members, and this has created cancel culture on Facebook, right? I may have shown my own mother Facebook in the first place, and she was excited that she could contact old friends and whatnot, but she blocks her own son, the guy who showed her Facebook in the first place. Kind of like South Park and Randy, right? And that's the crux. You know, the boomers engage in cancel culture as well. We all cancel somebody for one reason or another, trying to virtue signal. But what if you cancel the only guy who can stop thermonuclear Armageddon or genocide? Well, that's what you've done. Hey, look, you're headed for World War III all the time because you're distracted so easily by the Donald Trumps of the world, the boomers who lob a couple bunker busters, you know. They want to feel important as sciolists, as celebrity narcissists 11 years after America ended, right? So you might have a leader who's compromised and taken over by a foreign government. You might have America coddling genocidal psychopaths, but that's not the actual historical timeline that we would desire if you would just divert your attention to me instead of your nearest thirst trap here on TikTok. You might be able to save the world from yourselves just by paying attention to the world's smartest man. Hey, look, you give power to those who you pay attention to. Why would you pay attention to nincompoop sciolists who don't understand the First Amendment, or they don't understand why America ended based on American values? They don't understand what the democracy, the people actually want, the smartest to lead instead of the most popular. All your elections worldwide are now irrelevant. Those are just a popularity contest. You're not voting to see who's the most popular anymore. You're testing to see how intelligent the public is. Every nation is now trying to find their smartest person to join Hawking's table to bolster my intelligence. Socrates said you wouldn't just let anyone sail a ship at sea. You would essentially want somebody who knows how to steer Starship Earth, right? When aliens come to our planet, I guess they come to me, guys. So you should probably pay attention to the real leader of the free world if aliens do, right? The highest intelligence in the galaxy does. So that's the crux of our situation. You have women running roughshod over the house as parental narcissists. You can see the destruction of the family between government and the masculine feminist who wants that legalized extortion money instead of the original father. So I've never got to see my own son before as the most important person in world history. Hey, that's her parental narcissism. And the deep state also gets a high on control as anyone abuses their power, like the Stanford prison experiment. The deep state will throttle and marginalize the most important person in world history, the leader of the free world, to retain their national continuity, to keep America alive after it ended. But the world's smartest man is going to tell you that nationalism itself is mental illness. Okay? If I'm the leading therapist, if I'm the leading psychologist here on earth, the leading sociologist, I'm going to tell you, hey, look, your woman is actually supposed to be your therapist, not the shrink.